back to my channel. Today I will be doing the Bookish Bookin book tag. Say that 5 times fast. And the first question is, what is a well-loved book that you hated? And my answer is Legendary. It is about this boy who... I'm not really sure, but I didn't like that book. I don't understand why, because it was so up my alley of what I was reading at that time, and I really wanted to like it. It just didn't click for me. So that is my answer. Legendary. What is a guilty pleasure book? For me, that's The Selection. I don't know why. I always just go back to Selection. I know it's not the best written novel, novel that's out there, but I just love the story so much, and I go back to it probably more than I should. I just really like it. Next question. Have you ever spoiled a book for someone? If so, which book? For that one, I'm sure I have, but I cannot remember who, what book, what part was the ending of it. I read so much, and I love talking about books and telling people about books that I'm sure I spoiled something for someone. Next one. What book made you ugly cry? None. I have never ugly cried in any book whatsoever. Number 5. What was your latest DNF? My latest DNF was The Kiss of Deception. And I'll give you the reason why without giving you specifics. There was a plot line that I thought was going to happen, and this author just threw it out the window. So it wasn't going the way I thought it was going to go. But to be honest, now that I know how it's going to go, and I'm not as emotional about it, I should probably just try it again. See if I actually like the story now that I'm mostly over the plot is not the way I would have written it myself. Because it's not my story. Next one, number 6. Which book have you read due to controversy? One, I didn't understand this question. And 2, I don't think I've ever read a book due to controversy. Actually, that's not true. I did read All American Boys for a book club at my school. I didn't enjoy that book really. It's about police brutality in Baltimore, I think, actually. And the story of this boy who was beaten up by the police because he was black and he seemed suspect. And the police officer's cousin, and both of their perspectives on the whole issue. I did not read this book because it was controversial. Because of a controversy, but that's the most controversial type of book that I have read. Anyway, on to the next question. Have you read a book where you question the author's sanity? Yes, I have. Well, there's kind of 2 for this one. What I wrote down was Carval, and that things that happen on this island are just so insane and so crazy sometimes that I'm like, how did you come up with all of this? It's crazy. The next one. What is the most cringe-worthy book you have read? The Siren. This book is about a girl who, she's a siren, and she's enslaved to the ocean for 100 years, and then she's let go, and her memory is completely wiped out. So she meets this boy, and they end up liking each other. But for me, it's just happens so fast, and there's like no explanation to why things are happening the way they are. It just seems unnatural to me and made no sense. And I'm a person that will read instant romance and be okay with it, but this one was just bad instant romance. What book have you read solely due to the cover? When I was in middle school, we were forced to go to the library to find rereading books, which was really hard for me because I've always been a reader, and I've always was in the middle of a book at home, but always forgot to bring to school. So I'd have to get new books that I wouldn't really care to read. So there was always the Princess Diaries, and I always picked it because it was pink. But it's something I never enjoyed reading and didn't interest me at all. Number 10. Name a book you are embarrassed to admit you have read. Okay, so you know those books they write that are the exact copy of TV shows or movies that kids have watched? Yes, I've read the Camp Rock version and the Hannah Montana version as well. So I find it that funny that I've read this. Number 11. Name an unknown book you wish more people knew of. Unenchanted is so good. More people should read it. It's more of a middle grade book, but it is about this girl whose ancestors are the Grimm brothers, and the Grimm family has to live out the stories and complete the book, like the stories of books. They live them out. So it's just interesting to see her story. Well, now, if you haven't read that, I highly recommend it. And I will say that is only found on iBooks, but it is worth a read. All of them. Name a favorite villain. My favorite villain is the Count from the Ruby Red trilogy. This book is so good. I love every aspect of it. It has everything I love about books. Just the fantasy world, and like everything I love wrapped into one. But the Count is probably the coolest villain. The scariest and coolest villain. Because you think he's doing the right thing, but really he is not. And I think that's what makes him, I don't know, he's very unassuming.